Hello, this is Insane Monster, and this will be a what if Asta was the Avatar. Now, in other series, they made it to where the elements would be used like magic, but in this one, it will be used as the actual Avatar power. So it won't require any magic or anything like that. Now, everything in Black Clover goes as it's supposed to. Asta's at the church and all that until the age of 5, where gets his pendant stolen, and Asta tries to help him. When he's pushed back a couple of times, he goes and his foot stomps on the ground, and suddenly the ground underneath the drunkard launches him upward and knocking him out on the fall. They grab Yuno's necklace and bolt it. After they get home, they're just exhausted and pass out. And as Asta's asleep, he sees people, and he finds himself in a strange place. Everything is just clouds all over, and he sees 4 people and a weird kite-looking thing that's radiating light. They introduce themselves as Rava and the past incarnations of the Avatar. They explain who he is and how and why they're in a different world. Rava sensed a darkness encroaching on this world and decided to help it out, given that the state of the world that the Avatar is usually is in a very stable place and will be like that for a while. And they tell him that to help protect this world, you will have to learn how to bend the elements. And that training will start as soon as possible. Right after that, he wakes up and goes to the woods. He tries to do what he did before. Takes a couple of tries, but he finally gets the earth to move. Once that happens, he sees a illuminating woman that he saw in his dream last night. She introduced herself as Kiyoshi, saying, "I am Kiyoshi, the the last avatar born of Earth, and I will be training you for your earth bending." She instructs him on how the techniques work and everything. How the stances, the forms, and the follow through with the attacks. She also gives him information on the more advanced techniques that he'll be learning later. It takes a while, and Yuno just sneaks around watching him, seeing how is he doing this without magic? Some time passed, and then another one came to join Kiyoshi. The next was sorry, the next one to join Kiyoshi was Avatar Roku. He explains that they will be beginning his training in firebending, and right when he firebends after some practice, just yells "What?" and Asta immediately spots him. Is confused and asking Asta what is going on. And then Asta doesn't know how to answer. And he decides, okay, you gotta calm down and let me explain. Or, hang on, give me a minute. He walks away for a little bit and tries to communicate with I guess they be the remnants of the other avatars that are in him. And he asked if they could explain what he is to Yuno. They didn't see any harm in it as long as the as long as didn't speak of it until the time was right. Because they are trying to keep this on the down low for right now. Because there'd probably be some people that would want to grab Asta for experiments and all kinds of stuff that would not be good. So Asta tells him to grab on to him. When Yuno grabs onto his arm, he finds himself in the same place as Asta was in his dream a couple of months back. And he's told what Asta is and why the reincarnation was sent to this world instead of the usual one. Yuno is confused and amazed at the same time, and he agrees to keep the secret. But he still wanted to watch and practice with Asta so he can become a better fighter with his magic. 1 or 2 months went by, which is when Avatar Aang showed up and said that they will start with your airbending training. Asta's a free spirit through and through, so airbending wasn't that hard for him. He actually enjoyed himself a lot more, especially when Aang taught him the air scooter. Though Yuno tried to do this a couple of times, it was not easy for him to compress his air and keep it rotating like that, not to mention balancing on it. If you've seen the flashback in Avatar The Last Airbender of Aang teaching it to the other airbenders, one of the people he was trying to teach got himself flung off it. More time went by, and as it did, Korra emerged and said it was time to begin your waterbending training. Now, waterbending seemed like it was incredibly hard for Asta to get it working. His attitude is mostly fiery, free-spirited, and steadfast, so it covers earth, air, and fire. But the personality traits that would be, I guess, contributed to water aren't as strong in Asta, so it makes it harder. He can make it do a little wave for a while, but he gets better and better. 5 years later, when he's 10, he has a good handle on the basics and is able to use his power quite well. Once they see this, they were astonished about how diligent and how insanely he has been training. If you recognize how ridiculously jacked Asta is in the anime, at 15 years old, it's understandable. Can't even imagine how much training it takes to do that. So they all 4 of them came to Asta and said that they will now be teaching him the advanced techniques. While Kyoshi will teach him lava bending, Aang will teach him the art of using the vibrations in the earth to sense everything around him, the technique Toph taught him. And Korra would teach him metal bending. Avatar Aang would teach him the redirecting lightning, and Roku would teach him how to produce lightning. And Korra would also give him tips on how to use the water bending in order to heal people. It takes time, but in 5 years, he is able to get a good grip of what he can do and how he can use it. Though he has had a good bit of trouble with the spiritual part of the Avatar, unable to unlock the Avatar state even after 10 years of meditation and stuff. If you watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, you know to get that state, you have to unlock all the chakra gates. Asta has unlocked all of them except the last one. It seems to be kind of a block for him. But now that he's 15, it's time to get a grimoire. So they just went off, and as usual, gets his 4-leaf grimoire, while Asta gets his. Well, he doesn't get any grimoire at that time. When that happened, Asta hurries up and goes to the forest again. Well, near the skeleton and everything. And tries to vent a little bit by using his bending. Also practicing fighting with his glider, which, incidentally, Aang taught him how to use. Not only use, but how to make, as well as maintain and repair. Then he feels like something's off. He can feel it coming from the Grimoire Tower, and when he does, he uses his glider and hurries to fly over there. When he's up in the air, he sees that Yuno just getting captured by the Chain Mage. When he sees this, he hurries up and falls down, readying the glider to use with his airbending to smack the Chain Mage. The Chain Mage is blown back by this and is furious. The hell are you? How can you use wind magic when you don't even have a scrap of mana in you? I can't even sense any. What the hell, are you hiding it or something? Which is when he then uses his chains to try to catch Asta. He grabs on him with them and says, so you don't have any mana. But how are you able to use magic then? Asta just smirks and says, magic? I don't need it. Breaking out of the chains. Point of reference, the metal bending came in handy for this. If it's a metal-based magic, he can use his metal bending on it. But as he breaks free and says, you aren't taking his grimoire, not on my watch. The 5-leaf grimoire then breaks through the wall of the Grimoire Tower and goes straight for Asta. It opens and he receives a magic sword. Well, anti-magic sword, sorry. He grabs hold and the Chain Mage said, that's it. You are dead. And he fires all the chains that he can produce right at Asta. And Asta, with a single swing of the sword, destroys the magic. Then blitzes right for him and slams him so hard in the chest with the sword that it literally gets him stuck in the wall. As in canon, Yuno and Asta still have their little fist bump. But later that night, when Asta's asleep, Asta meets his past lives in Rava again in the mindscape of the Avatar. But there's a surprise guest, a dark figure with horns, fangs, tails, and wings. He freaks out wondering, who is this guy? Rava is about to attack him when the devil said, wait, I have a proposition for you. Rava says, what will we want from you? He replies with, I have the power of anti-magic, the ability to destroy it. And I sense that you came here to face some of my own kind, didn't you? Rava replied with, I did sense an encroaching darkness coming more further and further to this world. But why would you fight with us? He chuckles, saying that he's an outcast of his own kind. He'd rather see He'd rather beat his own kind to bloody pulps than let them have their way with this world. Rava, as a light spirit, can sense that he isn't lying, but she's still wary of him. But she can't deny that having the ability to destroy magic in a world where magic is literally everything could be useful against the enemy that they'll be facing. So she reluctantly agrees with Asta's past lives, a little bit nervous about working with this thing. After that, Asta gets up in the morning and decides to go and practice with this sword. Unfortunately, none of his past lives ever learned how to use swordplay, so he's not really able to rely on them. But he does find his teacher from the Diamond Kingdom and trains with him. Once everything is taken care of and the Magic Knight entrance exam is coming, Asta packs his things and gets ready. He has his backpack as well as his glider strapped onto his back, and he's all set. Yuno and Asta get going, but after getting out of the view of the place, Yuno and Asta started talking, and Yuno said, Hey, wanna bet I can get to the capital faster than you? With Yuno stating, as if I'd ever lose in a race with you. With Asta smiling, saying, Okay, then let's try. I finally get to go all out now that I got my Grimoire and I'm have full control of my power and everything. I don't have to hide it anymore. Honestly, it was really annoying. Yuno smirked, saying, Really? So you've been holding back on our sparring? Asta smirked, saying, Well, I didn't want to destroy the whole forest, now did I? Yuno hurries up and gets on a broom, flying off. He wonders why Asta isn't getting on his glider to fly as well. But instead of using his glider, he gets in a running stance and then starts blitzing just running right towards the capital. Can't understand how is he moving that fast. If you remember from watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, you remember that Aang run incredibly fast, and so fast that it created a shockwave that destroyed a wooden base, hideout, hut, whatever you want to call it. And in Death Battle, they categorized it in where he would go fast as sound, I guess. If I'm mistaken, then don't sue me, but he is just going for it. He's basically controlling the air to go around him so he doesn't have wind resistance, and using it to blow behind him to push him even faster. Which is when Yuno said, Alright, let's do this. Then he just creates a whirlwind behind him to propel him faster and faster. And as they're neck and neck for the capital, they get right there. But then they start arguing over who won. And it continued like that until they got to the entrance exam sign up. As usual, when Yuno signs in, everybody is shocked to see the 4-leaf clover grimoire in the hands of somebody from the Forsaken realm. Asta gives him his grimoire, and he can't even make this out. It's all dark. He can't even see the clover clearly. But he uses his magic to register him, and it is a grimoire, so he just gives it back. and they go right ahead. As usual, Yuno has none of the anti-magic birds around him, while Asta is completely swarmed by them. He bumps into Yami, and he feels some immense pressure coming from this guy. Like, this guy is pretty intense kind of feeling just from looking at him. Which is when Yami grabs his head and says, "Do you want to die?" Asta reacts as best as he could and stomps on the ground to throw Yami back with the pillar of earth. Yami's surprised by that he didn't even use his Grimoire. And how did he use... there was no creation magic or anything. He just launched the ground beneath their feet at him. He was interested. But then he got yelled at saying that the exam's about to start, so they had to hurry. Yami left, but not without thinking as he left, what is with this kid? His ki is off. It's weird. What is he? As the test began, Captain Bonjins used his World Tree magic to give everybody a magic broom. Yuno obviously does pretty well, though Asta just looks at it and they're thinking, can that kid not use a broom? He tosses it aside, saying, with them thinking, is he just giving up? But Asta then grabs his glider and opens it up. Everybody's confused, thinking, what is that thing? Then Asta just leaps up into the air and starts flying like it's nothing. Like he's just a bird. And they're thinking, what is that thing? And how is he doing that? I don't even sense any mana from him. Doesn't make any sense. So Asta passes the first test with, I guess, flying colors, although they're a little confused of why he didn't use the broom. Next, with the sharpshooter test, but he tries to keep low key, so he uses wind and just throws some wind at the target and bam, shatters it. Then came the creation test. Well, Asta thought, okay, I can't use creation magic, so I might have to improvise. So he stomps to make a pillar pop right in front of him. He then places his hand on the pillar and bam! Turns the top of the pillar into sand, but the center of it, what he didn't turn into sand, was a tiny sculpture of the first Wizard King. They were still confused about what is he doing. But they think, do we consider that a pass or do we not? Finally came the combat test. Everybody's just wondering, what is with this kid? He's been doing all this stuff, but we can't even sense magic from him. Even when he does something, there is no hint of it. So they're pretty confused. And Seke, he doesn't even want to go fight Asta because he just doesn't understand. And you don't mess with something that just seems like it might be trouble. But a noble does step up to Asta, saying that he wants to fight him. Thinking, this could be interesting, and I could just pummel him to my heart's content. As Yuno's match goes the same as usual, obviously. And as for Asta, the person he's fighting uses iron magic. He makes an iron golem that charges right at Asta. But Asta holds his ground, then stabs his hand right into the iron golem metal bending, and then just rips it apart using the metal bending. The noble's like, how did he do that with his bare hands? That shouldn't even be possible. I'm a noble. How can this commoner do that? Then Asta hurries up and runs to the edge of the battle arena and creates his air scooter, flying around, going on the sides of the arena area. When that happens, the noble says, "Are you mocking me?" Then just starts firing all kinds of attacks at Asta. Asta then pulls out his anti-magic sword, finally using his Grimoire, which, and then what lands on the ground and blitzes straight for the noble. Too fast for him to see, especially since he's using his air bending to make him go even faster. He slams right into the noble, knocking him clean out and foaming at the mouth like Seke was. They are surprised that two commoners from the same village just took out two nobles. As the Magic Knights begin to select who they wanted in their squads, obviously Yuno gets all the hands and chooses the Golden Dawn. However, Asta only gets one hand raised up for him, which was Yami. Asta was wondering why only the Black Bull raised for him, and Yami could tell this, but he said, "It's fine, kid. Everyone here is rightly confused about what your power is. They can't understand it, and without properly understanding what you can do and how strong you are, they can't rely on you. However, what I saw was something really impressive and interesting. Plus, something about you gives off the vibe that you are insanely strong." Asta is glad about this, and Yuno is happy for Asta. So, as in canon, Yuno goes off with the Golden Dawn, and Asta with the Black Bulls. And, well, we got 2 minutes left, so let's hurry up. Asta gets the Black Bulls, and like usual, he rushes in, and the Black Bulls are loud as ever with Magna and Luck fighting. And when a stray fireball comes, Asta uses his fire bending to get rid of it, which is when Yami smashes the wall and says, "Shut up and sit down." Everyone sees Yami's back and greets him and everything. Then when Asta is introduced, Magna's like, "So you want to be part of the Black Bulls?" Asta saying, "Yes." With Magna replying, "Then you're gonna have to earn it. Time for a baptism." Yami interrupts saying, "Magna, you'll be doing it alongside Luck this time." With Magna saying, "What? Why? Just do it." When the baptism begins, in the combat section, because the normal part with the exercise and stuff just goes on, Luck starts off by using a spell he calls Giant Thunderbolt Destruction. When it comes right at Asta, he sticks out his two fingers, to make contact with the lightning bolt, with everybody thinking, "Is he crazy?" But the lightning begins to go into Asta's fingers, and he flows it through his body and blasts it back at Luck, blasting clean at him, and Luck being barely able to negate the magic, still blasting them into a tree. Next was Magna, who just started throwing all kinds of fireballs, but then using his firebending, Asta takes them, spins them around, and throws them right back at Magna. Magna getting angry and just looking angry, running straight towards Asta, yelling, saying, "That was incredible! You're really good." Everybody is impressed but confused about how he was able to send Magna's fire and Lux's lightning back at them. But without too much hassle, everything goes, and as in canon, Asta gets his robe and everything. And I'll leave it off here. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Don't forget to ring the bell, and see you on my Discord. Have a good day.